So I'm going to show you the Mascara Beauty Revolutionary one layer approach, kind of paint by numbers for your face. The order doesn't matter if you want to switch up the order. It just matters that we get the layers on and then blend it all together. So you can use your basic 4 colors. That's all I'm going to use in this video is contour, your dark color, your all over highlight. So we don't call them foundation, but you would think of it as foundation. Please barely use any of these, okay? Go dark with the dark, go light with the light. That's the biggest mistake people make. If you think the makeup looks wet, like oily, it's because you're using too much. If it's creasing, if it's showing texture, it's either the wrong color, okay, or too much product. If it's not lasting all day, it's not dark enough. So those are some common troubleshooting tips. So your all over highlight is kind of what you would think of as your normal foundation. Your brightening highlight, so that's kind of what you think of as concealer. And then remember, this is a lip and cheek color. Now I am going to move to my bigger compact, but I'm only going to use the 4 colors. But I know starting out, this is so affordable. So a lot of you start with this option because 14 times 4, every color is 14. Shipping's free, so you just replace them as you need to. This will last about 6 months, 3 to 4 months, depending on if you get glossy or matte, 6 to 12 months. Okay, so $56 with the free compact. That's the quad compact. All right, so I am going to start with my all over highlight color. I could apply that with this end of the 32nd HAC brush, with the small end of the B squared brush, with the BBF brush, this one, the bigger end, or with either end of the Buffy brush. I'd probably do the big one. So I don't know, just depending on what brush you like and what kind of preference and coverage that you have. So I usually I really mix between all of them, so it doesn't matter. So today I'll use the B squared. Please look how I am barely tapping that color. It does not, the cream just spreads. It's not like a liquid foundation, so you're just spreading that color out. That's another reason we want our color dark enough. So if it looks like, oh, that color she gave me is way too dark, you just use so little of it that it's spreading around and you don't need it. So I'm going to do this color anywhere where a man would have facial hair, and then on my nose, okay? So I want you to see I'm not using a lot. Probably looks like more than it is. You're not needing to pick up a lot. I can't say that enough, okay? So anywhere that facial hair could be, so probably the highest a beard would go is about right there, right? All around the mouth, goatee. And then I did a light layer on my nose because most people, that's where you need a lot of coverage. That's where you have redness or big pores. I touch mine a lot because I have allergies. So boom, that's where we start. Next, doesn't matter, we'll contour first. Again, if you had that brush, you could contour that same end. If I were having the 32nd HAC brush, I'll probably move to this smaller end and pinch it so I've got more of a line. I know a lot of people start there, or you could even use that end of it. If I had the BBF brush, I would use the small end. And if I were using the Buffy brush, I would use the small end, okay? My very favorite brush to contour with, though, is the Detail HAC. And I do all my contouring with this brush. So with the contour, we do pick up more product. Oh no, I should have cleaned this brush from yesterday. Okay, so I'm gonna start at my forehead, at my hairline, and kind of pull forward. And I'm gonna go until about 1.5 inches above my eyebrows. So for some of you, that's just a really thin strip. Some of us are blessed with a lot of forehead. So that's kind of how I roll. Okay, I am using the contour color Henna if you are interested. Then I'm gonna find my cheekbone. Literally can just mash on your face and find where it is. And I'm gonna darken that cheekbone. You can kind of stamp it on or drag it. And when it starts to get squishy, less bony, you can kind of feel where it ends. Or when you get to your pupil, you're never gonna go in those smile lines. You're not gonna go past the center of your pupil. Then that tells me when to stop. Okay, already that side of my face is gonna look slimmer. If it doesn't look crazy, you've not put enough. Okay, it needs to look like I have crazily drawn a line on my face. Again, you can stamp or you can drag, doesn't matter, but get it bold because you're gonna blend it. Okay, if you have a narrow face, you're trying to broaden out, you're going to make it more horizontal. Most of us are trying to slim it out. If you've lost kind of some of your cheekbones over the years, that sometimes happens with age, you can even draw in kind of a little Nike swoosh to kind of really give yourself some more cheeks. I got plenty of cheeks, so I'm not a thing I have to do. And then if you want a really crisp jawline, you can literally hold the brush like straight up and down and just darken around there, and then you'll pull that extra color down to blend it kind of as you go. Boom. Okay, now I'll do I've got another video kind of showing you some extra contour tips as far as like some, I guess, contour 2.0 tips. The reason I love this brush is because I can dip the side in it. It's already that straight line. So see, there's no contour on my nose, but you see how it's darker right there? We're gonna do the same thing. We're just gonna darken where it's already dark, put that filter on our face. But I'm gonna cheat and draw them a little closer together than they actually are. And I'm barely putting any on here. I don't want to have to blend it a lot, so I don't want to put too much product, because if you blend it, then I'm moving the placement of it. So the closer together you draw them, it's a $14 nose job. So your contour is $14, and boom, my nose is way thinner now. It's a game changer, and before and after photos start looking. And you no. So then I'm going to kind of do that around the bottom and kind of make myself have a little button nose. See that? So $14 nose job. You can even kind of bring them together at the end in almost like a little point. You could also have done that with a small end. So if I had a different brush, I would have turned my Buffy on its side, either end. So I've got that little point almost. If I were using the BBF, I would have used the small end. If I were using the 30-second HAC, I would have squeezed it to make it a line and drawn it with that. Or a lot of people just draw it in with their fingers. Okay, you want to see that line from the front. You don't want to see it from the side. So you're gonna just blend it down the side a little bit. I like to do most of my blending as I go. All right, next step. I'm gonna give you an optional step first. If you have dark circles, I do, see those? You can color correct. So if they're purple, you're gonna color correct with a yellow. If they're blue, like mine tend to be with my cooler undertones, then I'm using Frenchy lip and cheek color. If you have more mature skin or darker blue circles, mango highlight color is another good one to do that with. So we're just putting the color that's opposite it on the color wheel right in the circle to neutralize it a little bit. I usually use my favorite brush, my finger, to apply that, and I do stay right in the circle. It doesn't take a lot. If you got fine lines there, work it in, but gentle touches, okay? Boom. All right, now we're gonna brighten, the big step, okay? Depending on what brush you have, you could use either end of the 30-second HAC for that. Use the small end of the detail HAC, takes a little longer. I like to use the small end of the Buffy or the big end, it really doesn't matter. You could even use the powder. Now, go ahead and put your all over highlight down first if you want, very lightly, especially if you're using this brush, and then just lightly, we're gonna use that brighter color on top of that. I've never really done it with the B-squared brush, but if that's all you had, be easy, be light, okay? I need the most coverage there, so that's where I use the Buffy brush. So again, I could have put my all over color that was down here in the beard area down first, very lightly, especially if your light color, if you're getting texture there. Very, very, very little product. Okay, watch, I'm just barely going, boop. That's all it takes. I'm going all the way up to the lash line, but I'm not staying right in my dark circle like I did with the lip and cheek color, okay? I'm gonna bring it all the way down to the edge of my nose. First of all, I'm gonna get it close to that nose contour line, make it straight. And I'm gonna put it right against the contour line, because that contrast of light and dark is what's gonna make our cheekbones look more chiseled, okay? So already I look so much more awake on that side. When I want more coverage, I can just kind of stipple it on. Let me do it with another brush on the other side so you can see it done with a different brush. And then I wipe off the leftovers So there was almost no leftovers because I barely have any product on. The fluffier the brush, the more product you have to use. So if I'm doing it with, for example, this brush, I'm actually picking up, even though the Buffy that I was just using gives more coverage, I'm actually picking up less product with that brush and more with this fluffier brush. So this is the BBF, and I can just kind of easily lay it on there. Okay, or I could have done it with, again, the small end of that 30-second HAC brush. Okay. Either way, so you can see this one gives a little denser coverage. The Buffy does, but so little product, and it's buildable, so just do a tiny bit. You can always put more, but if it's getting wet, if it's looking wet or creasing, showing texture, if it's showing texture, either your color's too light, so go ahead and put that darker one down first, or you're putting too much product. Those are the only options, okay, because this works for all skin types, all skin colors. Okay, I just kind of blended it around as I went. Boom. And then we're going to go right up the center of the nose with whatever the smallest brush you have is. I go with that brush I contoured with. I'm going to go right between those two dark lines. Okay, I'm just trying to keep it straight. And then I'll fan it up to kind of make a little palm tree or a Y. I don't want to have to blend a lot. You can give yourself a little button nose because I don't want to move those lines that I did earlier. Now this is great for people that have killer brows. It's a good time to like go around your brows because then you're gonna make a really nice contrast of the dark and the light. And I just kind of let it run out of product on its own. I have almost nothing on my forehead because I'm not really trying to cover anything up on my forehead. At this point you can blend a little before you do your blush if you want. So I do all my blending with this large end of this B² brush. That's why it's a great brush to get. You could also use our Perfector sponge, which you'll want to wet and wring out, and mine has something on it. Okay, wet it, wring it out. But I do most of my blending, I throw my brush, with this brush. So I would prefer to pay a little more and get a brush because you can do so much with this, and you'll see I'm about to come do some more with it. This is what I apply my blush with. So the blending sponge is great for picking up excess product at the beginning when everybody uses too much. I can't stress enough how little to use. All right, so it's gonna come together when we use our lip and cheek color. This is nude. I recommend it for like everyone because it's just a great everyday color. Placement of that is right at the front of your contour line. Okay, right at the front, kind of over top, and then you blend it back into that line. In little circles going back. I'm making tiny circles. Another brush to put that on with is that fluffy BBF brush I was using. If you have the 30-second HAC, use the rounder end. And if you have the Buffy, I honestly would just kind of touch it on there with my fingers. And then blend, if that's the brush that you have. But this brush is so good for blush. All right, we want to keep our contour line high. So now that dark line we made is just a shadow under our blush that makes our cheekbones look chiseled. Before you say, oh my God, there's a line on my face, there is a line on people's face. There's shadows. Your face is not all one dimensional, one color. It's not. Start looking at men today. Look for the shadows. Their face is darker right here, okay? So don't freak out, okay? Blend it all around. Check yourself for lines. Maybe walk in a room with some different lighting. I also love this brush for at the end putting on some cream Bella bronzer. You could also do that all over at the beginning to warm up your whole face. I love the bronzer because it's not orange and it's not like shiny, just like a natural tan. It's great. So those are your 4 colors, and then you can apply your lip color just with your finger or the multitasker brush, your cheek color right to your lips. And I like putting a powder over it, either an eyeshadow or a powder illuminator, and it'll last a lot longer. But that was your basic HAC with your 4 colors. Try to give you some different brush options there. You can blend with a sponge. You can set however you like to set or not. I don't set mine at all. So basic HAC. Let me know how it went.